Welcome to the Sabo Ross Experiment. We have liftoff. Woohoo! Hey, welcome to the Sabo Ross Experiment. And today we are going to talk a lot more about movies and Comic-Con.
Indeed. I actually, have you ever been to Comic-Con before?
No, I haven't been there.
So it's the big thing is San Diego Comic Con, but they pronounce it Comic-Con like it's one word. I was blessed to be there in 2002 when they had their first independent film festival. And I had this sci-fi short film playing there, and back then they didn't separate the independent filmmakers from the big national filmmakers in the green room. So in that same year,
Get the hobnob.
When I was there in 2002, I was there with Arnold Schwarzenegger. James Cameron was there for the movie Solaris. Cameron was there for Terminator 3, I think. And then we had Joss Whedon was there, the guy who did the first two Avengers movies and Buffy the Vampire Slayer. This was right before Firefly came out. That's what he was there promoting. Ang Lee was there with the Hulk. We just saw an X-Men 2? Yeah, X-Men 2. They had only shot for like a week, and they had a mini trailer already.
Oh, wow.
And they call it Hall H. It's the convention center in San Diego, and they open up like what would normally be where they have all the different booths. That's a giant auditorium where these big players are on stage.
Yeah. Well, guess what? This year, no Marvel.
Marvel has some reason been going every other year.
Yeah. They said something tied up with something going on in England. I don't know exactly.
Oh, they're shooting the new Avengers. Avengers Doomsdays is shooting right now.
Doomsdays. Yeah. Well, but there's a lot of good news. Now, first I wanted to talk because I have my South Park tee.
The big old Cartman.
Yeah, Cartman here. The authority. Respect my authority.
So apparently they used AI to generate a photorealistic video of Donald Trump.
Well, I wouldn't doubt if they used AI. I didn't catch that part of it. I just know that they apologized.
Yes, they did. But that apology seemed more sarcastic than real.
Yeah, well, read it however you want.
That apology seemed a lot more sarcastic than genuine, but they did apologize because it caused a huge uproar.
Yeah, it was a great episode. I mean, it's right at the cultural moment of everything that's going on. The one thing that was funny that they had to say was they actually brought up TikTok, and they said today we now have to compete with the young creatives on TikTok for their attention. Can you imagine that? The guys from South Park actually know that TikTok has kind of like taken over a lot of eyeballs.
Well, one of the most interesting things to me about South Park, and this has been for over 10 years, they produce the episodes 1 week before they air.
Yeah, that's true.
They've been doing that for a while since before. So they have the South Park studios. They did a great documentary called 6 Days to Air.
Oh, really?
It's an amazing documentary about how they produced episodes. And this is back in like 2010 or 11. They have the South Park studios there in Los Angeles. It's a big building.
Yeah.
And they have a writer's room. They write the stuff. And then they go to the sound booth. They start producing. Then they rewrite, reproduce, rewrite, reproduce. And it's a last minute thing every day.
Yeah.
Those animators are constantly recreating stuff based on the changes. And it's this whole frustrating creative experience, mostly from Trey Parker.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a fantastic. I love what they do. I think they stay cutting edge by doing that.
They do. They stay cutting edge, and they have their system, and it having that last minute always gives you a good, final output. Like when you put yourself under the pressure, all of a sudden magic happens.
Yeah, and that's the thing that you see with Trey is like when he's really depressed and there's something missing, he wants it to be perfect. He will go to McDonald's and get chicken McNuggets and fish fillet and like the most awful food. He's like, but this is my process. Like I'm torturing myself for the art. and it's just fantastic.
w-
Just but what and winds up happening is that pressure does make it better.
yeah. No, I think so. And they also, I think Mike Judd was on the panel with them, and they actually talked about how much he influenced them, which I didn't
Oh,
know.
Beavis and
Yeah,
Butthead,
yeah.
and there was that was it Liquid TV? What was the animated thing that MTV did like at 1 a.m. on Friday night,
Mm.
Saturday mornings? There's because that's where Beavis and Butthead came from. Was they did like an hour of somewhat abstract or funny short animations. And that's how Beavis and
Oh,
Butthead
yeah,
actually started was
yeah.
they gave this unknown animator a shot and they're like, well, people really like this and they spun it off as its own show.
Yeah, I see. Well, the very first few episodes of Beavis and Butthead, they are just so hilarious, and the character, the voices, and it's a little bit different as they got more polished. It's still great, but those first three episodes, I think, is like wow, it was out there.
There's that and there's also speaking of South Park, did you know how they started? Do you know how South Park came to be?
No, no.
They were working in the mailroom at either a studio or an agency, and they got hired to create an animated Christmas card. And they wrote South Park as a 5 minute cardboard frame by frame animation with them doing the voices. And they did this 5 minute Christmas special with Jesus and everything. And it was unbelievably funny. And that VHS got bootlegged and bootlegged and bootlegged. And they make jokes because nobody knew who they were.
Yeah, they wouldn't.
And
They
because
wouldn't.
it was a Christmas card made by an executive at a studio as a joke. And so other guys were using that saying, I made this and would get meetings to sell people on them as animators when they didn't really make it. And when they got the deal, when people figured out who they were, they made that unprecedented deal with Comedy Central, Cartoon Network
Hmm.
eventually. Or not Cartoon Network, it was just Comedy Central.
Yeah, well, and now they just got their big deal because Paramount. I mean, they got bought out.
Yep, by Skydance.
Yes, which that's what was so funny about the opener season 27 because it did make fun of Trump and
But they were also making
the
fun of Paramount and the Skydance deal.
well, yeah, but the problem is Larry Ellison's son is in charge of Skydance.
Yeah.
And Larry Ellison is a big supporter of Trump. So,
Yep.
overall, there's a big picture being painted there. And they still had the balls to go out and make fun
And
of
it's after Colbert got fired.
Yeah, yeah.
Now they're saying it was for financial reasons, but he's the number one late night host. I'm pretty sure. What they did with like Late Night with Seth Meyers? They fired the band to keep the show going because
Oh,
it
yeah.
is true that
Yeah.
late night shows budgets should be cut because they're too expensive.
Yeah.
But you don't fire your best show, the number one show.
Yeah.
You make cuts
Yeah.
in the budget. You don't cut the show. So it was obviously very political.
Well, the other thing that is a little bit sad, that, well, we don't know for sure, but they say they're going to cut a lot of scripted type programming to save money or to go with what the trends are, I guess.
But here's the thing: broadcast television as a
Yeah.
concept is failing.
Yeah.
Cable TV is definitely dead.
Well,
Everything is shifted over to app-based
Yeah.
streaming.
yeah. Well, the thing is also they're not sure about Sheridan. Sheridan, all his.
His Paramount Plus stuff.
They don't know whether that stuff's going to get cut because his shows are very expensive.
Oh, and the thing is, this is the same thing across the board with
Yeah.
everybody. Netflix, Disney Plus, HBO Max, they're all experiencing the same problem as Paramount Plus, which is we thought streaming would be more profitable, but now there's too much competition. We keep raising prices, so people are dropping half their stuff for 6 months and switching over for 6 months.
Yeah.
And they didn't account for that. They had this silly belief that they're just going to keep making money. It's just going to always get more subscribers. It's like, there's a finite number of people and televisions.
Well, here's a good one. I mean, I don't know if you like this show, but Peacemaker.
I love Peacemaker.
I mean, when I watched that first season, I was like, now John Cena, I like him and I don't like him. Like, I didn't really like him as a wrestler. And then his sense of humor, he always had that character, but in Peacemaker, it works.
I couldn't. First off, that was again great hero James Gunn.
Yeah.
His first thing when he got laid off from Marvel because of tweets he made like 13, 14 years earlier, he took a job at Warner Brothers DC and did Peacemaker. At first, he did The Suicide Squad, the second iteration, and it had Peacemaker with John Cena.
Yeah, that's when
Those two got along so well, he spun it off to the show. And I was like, well, I thought he was funny in the movie, but really?
Yeah.
One episode in, I was like, at first, like the opening credits of those dance scenes, I was like,
what? That's right. I forgot about those.
What are we seeing here? Like,
I have
what
no
is
idea.
this? And I was like, I couldn't tell if I was going to like it or hate it.
Yeah.
Like it was going to be very binary.
Yeah.
Peacemaker was, I'm either going to love this or hate this. By the end of the episode, I'm like, okay, I love this.
Well, and they work in all that classic music,
all
rock.
the 80s metal bands that I was
works.
into when I had hair.
Yeah.
Before I went bald, that was all the bands I loved so dearly. But to make him like an 80s fan, and the thing that shocked me was how good John Cena, a wrestler, was at improv comedy.
Yeah, I mean, he you're right. He is.
He's very funny.
At Comic-Con, I mean, James Gunn was right there with him. They debuted a new trailer for season 2.
I saw it.
And it looks like it's going to be really good, a little out there again.
Well, the funny thing is I was real curious because they set up the first season. They said, well, this is a part of the Snyderverse, as they call it, the Zack Snyder iteration of Justice League, because they had a couple actors from Justice League make cameos at the end. So they tied it in. So it's like, well, now that James Gunn has reset it, where does this leave this show? And in the new trailer, they did one trailer and then they did a brand new trailer that shows like, okay, it's a multiverse thing. So they're going to cross him over into the new universe and they're going to make it work. And I'm so glad the whole trailer is kind of an explainer that they basically catered the new trailer like Superman's a hit. Tie it in right now.
Yeah.
So that's what it feels like they did. It's like, tie it to Superman right now.
But, did you happen to see Heads of State?
I did not.
It's on
Amazon.
Amazon. Yeah.
Idris Elba.
Yeah.
It's in my queue. I saw the trailer and thought this actually looks funny.
What's really interesting about that is John Cena's character. He's more of a wimp. And I thought it was just going to be temporary, but it's funny. He's supposed to be an action star. He's an actor in real life, but now he's president. He's got a lot of fans. It's good. It's good. It plays out the whole way, all the way through. So I recommend, catching that.
I was looking at it, but coming from Comic-Con last week was the big premiere of Fantastic Four.
Yes, yeah.
Did you get to see
Fantastic Four? Yes, I saw Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four First Steps.
Yeah, First Steps.
The new Marvel Universe one.
I have my opinions on it, so we can talk about it. We'll see what you think.
I liked it, but didn't love it.
Yeah.
Like, I thought, it's another decent, generic Marvel movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I liked the almost Jetsons design, like retro future. Like, it's set in the 1960s, but with technology. It very much had the aesthetic of the 1960s Fantastic Four cartoons. Okay. Now, keep in mind, I had very low expectations. I don't like the Fantastic Four that much. Didn't really read the comics that much. I was never a huge fan of the comics. So I have no deep love going in. And I'm not loyal to the source material. Yeah. And I liked but didn't hate the first two Fantastic Four movies 20 years ago. Those were okay. Mm-hmm. They didn't suck, but they weren't great either.
Yeah.
But then that 2015 one by Josh Trank, that one sucked. Yeah. It was awful. So they had nowhere to go but up from there. Like, it was never going to be as bad as that.
Well, I think the thing that got me, the setting, like you said, that kind of futuristic but 1960s, I didn't like it.
Okay.
Yeah, I just didn't like it because it felt like all the people and the Americans, it just, they were so typecast of being 60s, like they were just like they had no, I don't know, any
No individualism.
yeah, it was just like, oh, so you're painting a picture that the people from the 60s were like this crowd that could be manipulated up or down or this or that, so I thought that was bizarre. But the thing that bugged me the most was Pedro.
Really?
Yeah, well, yeah, you know why?
Why?
Because I think he's overused now. He's been in everything and anything. Gladiator ruined it for me. In Gladiator, I thought he was horrible. I like him in Star Wars.
Well, here's the funny thing is I had the opposite take, which was I was really against him being cast as this part. I'm like, he's got a certain type, and I don't think he's going to fit what I always think of as Reed Richards is supposed to be this aloof scientist that almost cares more about the science than people.
Yeah, okay.
You could almost say he's on the autism spectrum, is in modern view of what kind of character he is. I thought he nailed that part.
Yeah.
And I was shocked because I'm like, I didn't think he could pull that off.
Yeah, well, I guess it's not that part. I just didn't want to see his face. It's just too much. I think what ruined it also was Last of Us, because I'm still upset that he had to die, and I liked him in that.
Spoiler alert.
Well, I mean, come on, that's been out for a while. Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but I'm never gonna.
Oh, well, I
didn't like the show.
Yeah, I mean, that was in the original story.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't going to make it. But, I loved that show. I loved the first season. I loved his character, especially coming away where he wasn't wearing a helmet or something. I thought he was great. But some of these other roles, it's just too much. Too many different types of characters. I don't think he can pull them all off.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, I don't disagree with that, but I thought because I didn't think he could pull off Reed Richards, and then he did, I was very pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I got you.
I also was really surprised by, I liked the guy from Stranger Things playing Johnny Storm.
Yeah.
Thought he did great where it wasn't an homage to what Chris Evans did, but it also didn't shy away from it either, because that is the character from the comics. Unfortunately, I think I like Jessica Alba. I think she's not only very pretty, I think she's a good actress and everything, but having her play a nuclear physicist or a scientist is a bit of a stretch, and it didn't really work in the Fantastic Four movies. Like, she didn't fit with everybody else in that regard. Like, she just wasn't right for the part. Whereas in this, Vanessa Kirby, I think, was really good, and I really liked her kind of Tiger Mom feel.
Yeah, I love that too.
I thought she was really good in the movie. And I also thought the guy who played the Thing, he was in Star Wars, he was in Andor Season 1. He's also on that show, The Bear, on Hulu. And Eben Moss is his name. And I also was like, Ben Graham, he nails it. Yeah. I like the fact that it's a guy who's clearly, like, he turned a cartoon character into something complex. He's a guy that's clearly depressed about what he's become and how it affects everything in his life, that he's made of rocks. He's fighting depression by trying to push through with optimism. And that struggle, to me, between those two polarities, I thought he nailed it.
Yeah. No,
doing it through CGI as an orange rock guy.
Yeah.
He still managed to do it. So I also thought what they did with Galactus was really good.
Yeah. Well, I thought the storyline was kind of silly.
It kind of fits the 60s setting.
Yeah. It's just,
I would just say there's not much to it.
No, there's nothing. I mean, you and I could have wrote that. I mean, it's just like, okay, create this big, crazy looking enemy. Reminds me of the 1960s, the Japanese
Godzilla.
The
Gojira.
Oh yes, Godzilla. The big monster. How are we going to defeat it
in the city?
Yeah.
Knocking over stuff in the city. How do we get it to fall into our little?
Yes. I mean,
but I think that's kind of the point, though. Is I think it was a throwback to that style.
Well, I mean, it does make sense if you put all that together and you put the scene. And yes, it is. It is. Maybe it is an homage to Godzilla. I don't know.
Or just the monster movie, the giant monster attacking a city feel.
Yeah.
But regardless, I mean, I liked it, but at the same time, I would not say that I loved it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit there and put it as one of the great pantheons of Marvel films. It was good. Not as good as Superman. Superman.
No, not at all. The thing that shocked me was the opening and the amount of money they made on the opening on Fantastic Four. I didn't think it would open that well after I had seen it, but they did rake it in. So I don't know if it'll have a second big weekend coming up.
No. Well, right now, a great second weekend is still like a 50-60% drop off as opposed to 70 or 80.
Yeah, okay.
I put this at the 60 to 70% drop off in week 2.
I wanted before you move to your next one, I wanted to get your opinion on this one because Project Hail Mary with Ryan Gosling.
I had not seen the trailer.
Oh, you haven't seen the
until
trailer?
No, I did.
Oh, okay.
On Fantastic Four, I finally saw the trailer. Based on the novel by Andy Weir, the guy who did The Martian with Matt Damon.
Yes. That's because
And
we had talked about how much I loved The Martian.
So did I. I showed it to my dad. He
Yeah.
loved it. And it's just, I watched that recently because it's just so positive. And to see another similar movie with Ryan Gosling, with another one of these charismatic, lovable guys with that
Yeah.
positive
Yeah.
feeling to it, I can't wait.
Okay,
to
so
see
you
it.
think it'll resonate?
I'm hoping.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
much like, what is the big thing that most people took away from Superman, in your opinion? What's the one emotion it left people with?
Well, I mean, it's tackling, the thing that you think you can't.
But I think
You can't
the thing is, though, there's
beat.
one word they say in the movie, and I really feel like it was kind of the mantra that the audience feels, which is just hope.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean.
And I think people today,
Yeah.
in 2025, people want hope.
Mm.
And that's what the new Superman movie offered.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's what this movie is offering in a similar way.
Yeah.
And it harkens back to, or go ahead. real
No,
quick.
I was just surprised that I didn't know anything about it. I had not heard anything about it. It was a surprise for me when this trailer came on. I didn't know. So I was like, ooh.
I had only heard about the trailer being online like a week or two ago and told, you need to watch this. You love The Martian. You're going to love this. And luckily I didn't see it online. I saw it in the theater.
Yeah,
in IMAX.
that's nice. Yeah, I only saw it on a small screen.
So I was floored.
Yeah.
But the thing is, talking about going back to that hope thing, the perfect transition for me for what I wanted to talk about next, which is think about the 1970s. By the late 60s, you had the Vietnam War raging, conservatives and liberals at each other's throats. Then you had Nixon and Watergate, and all the movies were realistic, depressing. All the heroes are anti-heroes. There are no black and white cowboys and Indians anymore. That's a cliche that doesn't exist, and everybody's angry. And then in 1977, George Lucas puts out Star Wars.
Well, wait a minute, though. I'm thinking about Billy Beer. Because I can only think about the gas crisis and me trying to get gas on my little CT70 at the gas station.
But the thing is, but in terms of pop culture, out of nowhere
Yeah.
comes Star Wars.
That is a crazy
brings
time.
back.
Yeah.
What's the new subtitle of the movie? A New Hope. It brought this positivity back into culture in the United
Wait a minute.
States.
It wasn't Billy Beer. Sorry. That was Jimmy.
Jimmy Carter's brothers.
No, it was Billy Beer was
Bill Clinton.
Bill
No.
Clinton's brother, wasn't it?
No, he's Bill Clinton. So it couldn't have been. Billy Beer, I think, was Jimmy Carter's brother.
Okay, maybe it was.
I think it was.
I thought it was, but sorry, I didn't mean to throw it off. I
No,
just
it's
I
absolutely
still
fine.
have some cans of it.
Probably worth something now. But I remember, and I'm going to end up saying this over
Yeah.
and over and over in the podcast. Someday somebody's going to do a supercut of how many times I say what I'm about to say. Because I'm always going to say it, is the first movie I ever saw in a theater was Star Wars when I was 5 years old. I'd never set foot in a theater before, and the first thing I saw was that. And I'm addicted to Star Wars. But I don't read novelizations. I don't get into any of that stuff. I don't do cosplay. But if there's a book on how it was made, I probably own it. And I've followed most Star Wars stuff my whole life, and I just adore it. So the current state of things, since Disney bought Lucasfilm,
Well, one second though. Did you know that George Lucas launched his museum?
yes. So the biggest thing is, going back to Comic-Con, tying
Yeah.
that bow,
Yeah.
here's our big callback. He had never been to San Diego Comic-Con before
Oh, he had it?
this past weekend. He had never once been there. He did a Hall H to promote his new
Yeah.
movie museum in
A lot of
Hollywood.
interesting artworks and stuff
Oh
too.
yeah, all the props and the history that he's got, not just from Star Wars, but from
The
all
other,
movies,
yes, everything.
all of Hollywood. It's
Yeah.
his big nonprofit project was to do this whole thing. But let me take you back and how tie it to Comic Con. So back when they were making Star Wars, the original one, 20th Century Fox hated the movie, wanted nothing to do with it. He had a $9 million budget. That's it. That was low even for 1977.
It was?
Yes.
It sounds like a lot.
It sounds like a lot, but it was not at the
Well,
time.
not for anything with effects.
And no one had done effects like
Yeah.
this ever
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
The closest was 2001 in the 60s, and things had advanced, and they were doing stuff way different and way, for lack of a better word, better. So the funny thing, though, is 20th Century Fox hates this movie. They hate investing in it. The head of 20th Century Fox was his shield, Alan Ladd Jr., and so George was convinced the movie's going to fail.
Already.
He was already convinced this is going to bomb and I'm not going to make any money. And so the funny thing is, he goes, the only money I'm going to make is at conventions selling T-shirts. So everybody's like, George is such a shrewd, selfish businessman. He negotiated the rights for all the merchandise. 20th Century Fox were like, we don't want anything to do with this movie.
Take it.
Take it. So what happened was his head of marketing was a guy named Steve Sansweet. And in 1976, a year before the movie comes out, he went to Comic-Con and had exclusive posters and stuff. No toys. Toys came almost a year later. After the movie was already out is when the toys started coming out. But he had some posters and exclusive merchandise and was hyping up this upcoming movie at San Diego Comic-Con.
Wow.
And San Diego Comic-Con was a comic book convention at the time.
Well, that had to spark a lot of people's interest then.
Those posters and the memorabilia from that were unique to that, and they're worth a fortune.
Oh, I couldn't imagine. Anything I got for 76 toys, they actually have value.
Lots
with the Star Wars stuff.
Even if they were opened, used, doesn't matter. They have a lot of value today.
Yeah.
So what happened was Steve Sansweet cut all those deals, and but George was so convinced this movie's going to be a failure. He's like, the only money I'm ever going to make is for the next 10 years, I'm going to have to go to sci-fi conventions and sell T-shirts.
Is that right?
He thought that's the only money he'd ever make. And that leads me to the big thing I wanted to talk about today, which is this is we're not going to do this every week, but I have a Star Wars throwback.
Oh, nice.
So what I wanted to talk about was something that a lot of people don't know about. What was originally going to be the sequel to Star Wars?
What was originally going to be the sequel to Star Wars?
Before Empire Strikes Back. Before the film was a success. What happened was the film company's like, well, we need a novelization, a paperback version of the movie. And we want to credit it to you, but we're going to have a ghostwriter. So they hired this sci-fi writer who writes like 20 books a year named Alan Dean Foster. He writes novels, sci-fi novels all the time. And they go, you're going to ghostwrite it. So he met with George several times and he was writing it, but he knew he wasn't going to get his name on the book. He knew that from the start. You're not getting your name on the book. He's like, okay, it's a job. I get paid. So he met with George, saw rough cuts of the movie, rough cuts of effects before they were finished.
You're talking about of the first film.
The first Star Wars film.
Okay.
And so he's like, well, they want to publish this novel months before the movie comes out. And they did. It came out at Christmas of 76 before anybody had seen the movie. And he's talking with George, and George is like, he's working on the effects, and he's really burned out. He's like, well, this movie's going to bomb, and I'm going to make no money, but I still want to make a sequel. And he goes, so I have an outline of an idea. Do you want to write it? He's like, sure, I'd love to. He goes, well, so it'll work out great. It's got to be a low budget, like $800,000 budget. So we're going to have just a couple locations, mostly interiors, so I don't have to do those big special effects. We're only going to have Luke and Leia and the robots. I don't want that Han Solo. The guy who played him didn't want to be in the movie, doesn't want to do the sequels, so I'm not going to force him. We're just going to write him out, and then Darth Vader's going to be in only in a couple scenes. And he goes, and here's the script. Here's like the outline I've got. Write the script. And he's like, okay. He's like, I just met the guy. He's
Wait,
asking
wait,
me
he wants him to write a whole script?
writes a whole screenplay, which he's not really done. He's like, but I'll try. This sounds fun. And so he was writing it, and then the movie comes out. Huge, enormous hit. And suddenly he's like, well, I don't have to do an $800 budget movie. I'm going to rethink this whole thing. My imagination can go wild. So, but Alan Dean Foster's like, well, what about this thing he wrote? He goes, well, I'll tell you what. Why don't you publish it as a novel? And this time I'll take no credit for the work I did on it. You get all the credit on this one. He goes, no problem. And so the only novel that had Luke and Leia and Darth Vader in it between 1977 and 1993 was this one. Because George had written the story, but he took no credit for it because...
Interesting.
And it was called Splinter of the Mind's Eye.
Doesn't even sound like a Star Wars thing.
It's interesting, kind of... You can, when taking that context, you read the book, you're like, oh, this fits. This whole story fits. And so they eventually, Dark Horse Comics did a graphic novel version of the book with very good artwork and painting style ink that looks like the actual actors kind of thing. And it just became a fascinating moment in history to where this, what could have been, what was supposed to be the sequel to Star Wars is Splinter of the Mind's Eye. And it's just that little trivia. And the whole reason you find that trivia, the back cover of that graphic novel, Alan Dean Foster tells the story I just told.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah.
I'd never heard that or seen that anywhere else, but on the back cover of a comic book.
But when did that get published?
1978.
Okay, so after
Star Wars and before Empire.
Okay.
And chronologically, it could have occurred if you're talking about what they refer to, what geeks like me call canon. It could be a canonical story, meaning this could have happened in the characters' lives and be an official story. Because George helped write it, most people consider it canon.
I see.
Except Luke and Leia are a little more frisky, considering they're supposed to be brother and sister.
Oh, great.
So that's a whole other story. But that was my big thing. And so the only other thing is, have you heard what the next Star Wars movie is going to be that actually hits theaters?
No, I have not heard.
So there have been announced many, many movies, even multiple trilogies of movies have been announced. None have been even started production in any way. The only movie that's filmed is The Mandalorian and Grogu. Hits May of 2026.
You're saying it's filmed?
They've already finished principal photography months ago.
Well, see, I knew something about that, but I didn't know it was going to be tied in with Star Wars.
It is a continuation. Instead of doing a season 4 of the streaming show, The Mandalorian, they decided to do a 2-hour movie.
Okay. And how do they? Well, you don't know how they intertwine it into.
It takes place after season 3.
Yeah.
I don't know much beyond that. It just
because I'm trying to remember what happened at the end of season 3. Because weren't they?
Oh, the Mandalorian. Grogu becomes a Mandalorian apprentice.
Yeah.
They leave to go on their own adventures and leave Mandalore behind. That's how it ended.
Okay, so they did get together again, and
they got together again
and left,
and they're back on their own. It's kind of like a reset.
Yeah.
So they can. It's like a clean slate.
Okay, well I get it because I was always trying to picture the time for Grogu. Like, is this before any of the Star Wars? I mean,
no. This takes place. Everything with the Mandalorian takes place after Return of the Jedi. Like the season 1 of Mandalorian is 5 years after.
It's 5 years.
Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
Which is why they brought in the CGI Luke.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that.
It's only 5 years later. He's building the school for Jedis.
Yeah.
He's building the school, but hasn't even got his first student yet, except for Grogu.
Yeah. Okay.
Grogu becomes his first student. And this stuff can get super confusing. So here's the thing that I want to ask. It's just as a casual Star Wars fan, if that already confused you, is this a good idea to make this a feature film in theaters?
Well, I would much rather have another full season because I really enjoyed the show. than a feature, because once they go that route, that means it's pretty much going to be over, because it'll take another 2 years or 3 years if they decide to make another
3 to
feature.
4 years.
Because then they'll decide about money, because now all of a sudden you're spending a lot more money
for less airtime.
Yeah. And, like I said, with Pedro already being overused.
Well, here's the thing with that.
What am I going to think about him now?
Here's something hilarious is because the character almost never takes off his mask.
Yeah.
He does not do the performance. Do you know who does?
No,
he started as a stunt performer, but they were filming for weeks on the first season without an actor cast to actually play him and voice him.
Oh, is that right?
John Wayne's grandson is the body of the Mandalorian 90% of the time.
Wow, John Wayne's grandson?
John Wayne's grandson plays the actual Mandalorian that you see all the time. Pedro has to mimic his body movements because he's doing the majority of the body performance. And Pedro just comes in at the last minute, records voiceover for every episode.
Well, that's great trivia. You just gave some really
the thing that happened was halfway through the first season, he took the job and got really fed up with wearing that mask all day, every day. And it was like, I really don't like this.
Yeah.
I really don't like it. So season 2 on, he's like, you know what? We're going back to how we did the first couple episodes where I just recorded voiceover and that other guy played the physical part. I don't need to be there.
Wow.
And everybody else was like, well, we don't want anybody to be miserable. And it works because it's just a voice. And they liked what John Wayne's grandson was doing. So they're like, this works for us. Everybody was happy with the solution. So
Except for John Wayne's grandson.
What are you talking about? He's getting paid all the time.
No, I know. But, it's too bad he couldn't have been the
voice.
The voice,
So
that's how Hollywood works.
That's just how Hollywood works. He doesn't have Pedro's name and sex appeal at the same time.
Yeah,
so it
apparently
doesn't work
not.
for him. But for me, my opinion is I think this is a terrible mistake. What happened was Bob Iger came back to Disney, and he's like, well, what are we doing about Star Wars movies?
I know. I watched the interviews
He's
with
the
him.
one that said, he's like, we want money.
Yeah.
Disney wants to make money, and so we're going to sell a lot of Baby Yoda toys. So let's make a movie with Baby Yoda. And because part of it was Jon Favreau originally intended to write out the Grogu, supposed to be written out of the show and do something else. But Disney's like, there's no way in hell we're going to stop selling those toys.
Yeah. So that's how he came back. Because I was almost in tears when I thought
he was
gone. And then all of a sudden he's back.
He's back because
now you're making
Bob
sense.
Iger is like, we're not going to fund any more of your shows if we don't also make the money from the toys. And if we don't have him, we don't have the toy. So you're bringing him back. So they did that, and then now the movie, the mandate was, well, you can do a movie.
Well, they already filmed it.
You have to have Grogu in it. And so it's like, so in terms of the creative and writing, and also more the appeal for more adults that want more of an adult theme, we got Andor, which didn't sell any toys, and I'm absolutely okay with it.
Yeah.
Andor was made for people my age that love Star Wars but wanted it modified to pure adult storytelling. And they did it. They nailed it.
Yeah, I liked it.
But I also like The Mandalorian, and I like the Grogu stuff.
Yeah.
But I think what's going to happen is making a feature film where people would have to watch 3 seasons and half of Boba Fett season to understand the story you're telling. That is a miss, because if they just pretend people did their homework, half the audience or more is gonna be like, I don't know what's going on, I don't care.
Well, I don't know. I mean, in the other regard, it could be genius.
It could be.
It could be the biggest hit, and then everybody goes back, and now all of a sudden they're subscribing to Disney Plus.
That could happen, but also another thing that could happen is they dumb the movie down. It's like, let's reintroduce everyone.
Yeah.
Let's kind of pretend no one's watched the show and make this movie, and then everybody who's watched the show is going to be like, half the movie's boring because you're telling me stuff I already know.
I see.
So I think the risk is, to me, I think it's a 40-60. I think you have 40% chance it's a runaway hit, 60% chance that it doesn't.
Let's get a trailer.
They've shown trailers.
They have?
At Comic-Con, or there's their own convention called D23. Disney does their own
Of course. Yeah.
Comic-Con like event for all of their brands and parks and movies and TV and channels. And it's called D23. It takes place a month or a little over a month after Comic-Con. And that's where Marvel and Lucasfilm make their biggest announcements.
Okay.
And that's when new trailers come out. So that's why they skipped Comic-Con this year, because then it builds more hype for the Disney version of it, D23. So they're in direct competition for even the events.
Isn't that amazing? I mean, there's just so much money on the line for them anymore. It's just
It's almost a $1 trillion company at this point.
Well, the last thing was the announcement. I think it was last week. They're looking to buy 10% of the NFL.
What?
Yeah, to help ESPN. I don't quite understand why 10%.
That would be
10%.
Horrifying if the owner of ESPN also owned 10% of the overall NFL. That starts to get into what I consider monopolistic territory as a company.
I haven't looked into it to understand the reasoning behind it, but
the reasoning is always money.
Well, money, of course. It's just ESPN's always been struggling, one regard or another.
Another callback. Cable TV as a business is failing.
Well,
ESPN Plus, the streaming version, we're in that middle ground where we've shifted more streaming than cable, and it's just going to keep going like this. And the question is, will people pay for ESPN all year round, or only in the fall when there's NFL?
Yeah.
Only in the winter when there's NBA?
Well, because of Apple, Amazon, and Netflix, which we always say, they're all getting into sports programming.
Yep.
And they're doing really well with it.
Yep.
At least Netflix is. And Amazon for the
Amazon
Thursday
for
night.
NFL is doing really, really, really well.
I heard now, and I don't know if this is true, but I heard now there might even be a Friday night football game. Oh my God. A special one that Amazon is going to have. I'm not sure. But so with the Comic-Con, Red Sonja. So what's going on? Because that character was there.
Okay, so here's something interesting.
Something with a bikini? I mean, did you hear?
I didn't hear about that specific, but I can tell you what I know about Red Sonja, the character, which is...
Okay, Sonja.
Red Sonja, the character, is a spin-off of Conan the Barbarian. Now, here's what's really interesting is Conan the Barbarian was originally a set of novels by a guy named Robert E. Howard. But then the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie in 1980 or 81.
Oh, I love those.
Yeah. The first one is a work of art.
Isn't that one of Arnold's first films?
One of his first films.
Yeah.
And he's amazing in it as an actor.
Even with that accent, I liked it.
They had him barely speak.
Yeah.
But he had that great quote with, what is best in life? Feel wind in your hair? No. Conan, he goes, to drive your enemies before you, hear the lamentation of their women. You know, that whole thing, like that speech. It's actually a quote from the famous conqueror from Mongolia. And
whose DNA is in like almost every person around the world.
So the funny thing is, like him, Genghis Khan. It's a quote from Genghis Khan.
Yeah.
They modified it slightly for the movie, because the movie's written and directed by John Milius. And the first Conan the Barbarian is amazing. And so what happened was Marvel Comics had been illustrating and writing their own Conan stories, and they had invented Red Sonja in the comics.
Oh, they did? Okay.
So what happened was they were doing the Conan movies, and the second one didn't have him, but Dino De Laurentiis was the producer. So he did Conan the Barbarian, then Conan the Destroyer, and then he did Red Sonja, and it was supposed to have Arnold as Conan. So you have Arnold in it, and he's got a slightly different name from Conan. Because the rights for the character came from Marvel, and the rights for the Conan movies came from Robert E. Howard's estate.
Okay.
So they tried to mix them and couldn't mix them, even though they had Conan.
I see.
Or they even had a Conan-like character. They got Arnold, but couldn't get the name Conan. So that's where that all got messed up. And there have been multiple Red Sonja movies, and they did a Jason Momoa Conan movie in like 2010 or 11. Wasn't very good.
Yeah.
And Robert Rodriguez at one point was going to do a Red Sonja movie.
Well, that character though, what over time, what has that character been? I mean,
she's always been a redhead in a bikini with swords that kicks ass. That's it.
In what time period?
It's kind of...
Because there's not one where it's futuristic.
No.
I'm trying to think what that other...
They call it... It's one of those things where it's set in the time of Atlantis, which means it's medieval times, but not exactly medieval times. Like, it's this unknown time on Earth where nothing we know exists. It's like almost like Lord of the Rings, right? It's an alternate Earth. It's not historical, but it's essentially medieval times.
Interesting.
But it's set in like the world. They basically treat it as like in the Conan mythology. It's the thing where it's before the Earth, the continents split apart. So it's a prehistory thing.
Okay.
And it's what I find really interesting is like they wrote things called King Conan, where he was much older and a conqueror, and John Milius and Arnold were going to do that movie together because of everybody going back to that first movie and how much they loved it. And then then John Milius had a stroke, and it just never came to pass.
Hmm.
And now I think Arnold's just he can't pull off the character like he once did. It's just like he can't really pull off the Terminator anymore.
No, there is something that I was reading. Oh no, we did our little thing. Oh man, what's the Predator, where he's gonna. They did an homage. It's all animated. So,
Yes.
So now
There's
you know
that
it's
big
like
Hulu movie.
yeah.
Did you ever see the Hulu movie they did called Prey? It's a Predator movie, but it was from like 2 or 3 years ago during the pandemic. It went straight to Hulu, no theatrical release. It's called Prey, and it's Predator
Yeah.
set in the 1700s in Canada with Native Americans.
No, I guess
It is
there's
just as good as the original. It's the best one since the original.
there's no real star in it.
No stars in it whatsoever.
Oh wow, I'll have to go back and look at that one.
It is. You would love it.
Mm.
It has that feel of the original movie, but it's set in the 1700s with Native Americans. Or
They don't have a chance.
they do better than the colonists with the muskets. The Native Americans are better at like creating natural weapons and doing
Yeah.
stuff. Remember the end of the original where he's
Yeah,
like building
yeah.
stuff with stakes and
Yes.
ropes? The Indians are better at that than
That's
the
true.
musket guys that think they're already
Yeah.
the superior.
Yeah.
They find out they're not pretty quick when it comes to a predator. The guy who wrote and directed that wrote and produced, I don't know if he directed, the animated Predator thing that's out there that has him showing up at the end.
Okay.
And he has a new movie coming out in theaters, and I saw the trailer for.
Oh, you did?
It's called Predator Badlands. And that comes out in, I think, October. Looks amazing. And they're tying it in with Aliens.
Okay. Well, there's a lot happening,
There's
isn't
and all this is like Comic-Con related. They are
there?
like
Yeah.
hyping this stuff up.
Yeah.
So one last thing before we're done for today, which is we're definitely going to start doing this segment where we each take a turn doing this kind of thing. We're going to do an obscure movie and review it.
Yes.
There's some classic films out there that some people have heard of, but most people either don't know them or forgot about them.
And what's great is some of the stuff you can go back now and find on either HBO, Netflix, or,
Streaming.
yeah, you'll
or
be able to find it.
You can either rent it on Amazon or
Yes.
iTunes store. So the one I've got today is a movie from 1987, and it's called The January Man.
Okay.
And it's a drama.
Not the Invisible Man.
Not the Invisible Man. It's The January Man. And the title comes from the fact that there's what I love about this movie is the writing in it is spectacular. It stars Kevin Kline. He plays a fireman who used to be the best detective on the NYPD. He's the guy that would catch serial killers. He got fired in a big controversy like 2 or 3 years earlier. He got fired by his brother.
His brother is what? The captain or something?
Chief of police in the new NYPD.
Okay.
So what happens is, in the opening, there's been a serial killer killing girls every month. And in December, he kills a girl that was with the mayor's daughter. So the mayor's daughter was this close to getting killed. So they're politically motivated. They're like, why aren't you hiring back this guy, Nick Starkey? And they're like, you have to hire your brother back. He's like, no, I'm not doing it. And his brother's played by Harvey Keitel.
Oh, jeez.
And his ex-wife is played by Susan Sarandon, who's now married to his brother. So it's super complex. So what happens is he gets carte blanche. The mayor's like, we're hiring you back. We're going to give you whatever you want. He's like, anything I want? He's like, yep. He goes, he has to go to the mayor. What did he want? He goes, well, he wants 2 things. He wants unlimited resources and something strange. He goes, what? He goes, I have to let him have dinner with my wife. And he's like, wait, what? And they're like, oh, that's what. And the mayor's daughter is played by Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio, the girl from The Abyss and Perfect Storm and a bunch of other stuff. Uh, but his next door neighbor is this esoteric abstract artist who does paintings. It's played by Alan Rickman, a year before Die Hard when he played Hans Gruber.
Oh, wow.
So he plays a good guy.
A good guy.
Plays a weirdo who's hilarious. Like when he does a stakeout, he brings wine glass, like a picnic, and Twinkies. It's just like,
Heck of a combo.
yeah, and he's also like, he's in the police station painting on the walls, like painting parrots. And they're like, what are you doing? It's like, I go, I need it. He's my new assistant. He goes, no, I'll assign you assistant. Like, no, I want him. He's like, yeah, I have to give him what he wants. Fine. And it's just like this whole thing of like, so he's trying to solve the murder. And at the same time, you're trying to figure out why did he get fired? What really happened 2 years earlier? So there's two stories going at once. It's a brilliant movie. The only thing that's terrible in it is the soundtrack. Like the score. I don't know who did the score. It was like jazzy. And it's like, this doesn't need a jazz score. But it's one of those things where they're solving. I'm a sucker for a good solving a serial killer story, but I love the other backstory with all these relationships and the political aspects of how the press is eating them alive for letting this killer get away and not hiring back this guy that was good at, and maybe they framed him, maybe they didn't for a crime to get rid of him. And you don't know what happened, and you watch what happens as it unfolds. It's a fantastic movie.
Well, it wasn't in '87. There's a lot of competition on films. Wasn't Detective Foley and Beverly Hills Cop around
I think
1980s?
Beverly Hills Cop 2 came out that same summer.
Yeah, so, if you don't got Detective Foley.
Yeah, that's the thing is, though, 87 was also the year of Predator, the first Predator movie.
Yeah.
There were so many movies coming out.
And we went to every weekend you had
And not only
something.
that, but that's the height of Blockbuster Video.
Yeah. Oh.
Every weeknight, that place was packed with people renting tapes.
Oh, we love Blockbuster.
So this is one of those movies that just
it just kind of
slipped by. I didn't see it in the theater. I only saw it on HBO.
Mm.
And it wasn't on HBO in heavy rotation. I just remember watching it going, it's like, this was really good. I watched it a few months ago, and I was like, other than some kind of like the way the film stock looked and some of the performance and like that stuff, this aged fairly well, at least in terms of screenplay. It's fantastic.
Oh, okay, I know just because we're on all these topics real quick. Happy Gilmore 2.
Haven't seen
Oh,
it.
you haven't seen it?
I heard it knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, I mean, it's an homage for the first one for sure. They didn't veer, much at all, and the cameos and you got to really pay attention to see all that because there's a lot of old people, but it's good. I mean, they said the critics would hate it, which I could see why, but the fans.
Critics have hated everything Adam Sandler's ever done. There wasn't like the one or two dramas.
Yeah, except for his Diamond one.
The Diamond one and also Punch Drunk Love, which I still have never seen.
I haven't seen that either.
It's a Paul Thomas Anderson movie.
Okay.
But
it's just.
Let me ask this: do you think it was a good choice or a bad choice to go Netflix straight to streaming and not?
Oh
theaters?
no, definitely Netflix straight to streaming. Yeah.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. You don't want to put that in the theater.
I would think people would still pay to see it.
You want to be able to get that at the comfort of your home whenever you want to do it. It's just one of them things where tonight's the night I want to see it. You know
what though?
And I want to hit the pause and like, oh, look at that so and so.
For me though, it's a comedy. I would much rather every time I want to see a comedy in a room full of strangers that's packed.
Yeah.
And their laughter is infectious over watching it at home alone.
Well,
it's never going to be funnier at home when you're by yourself.
I just think, they made a deal with Adam, 10-year deal.
Yeah.
I'm sure none of it involved anything to do with theatrical releases. Probably
I don't think he cared.
It's all in the contract, I'm sure.
I mean, he got an enormous contract, and he's still on that contract to be exclusive with Netflix.
Yeah. I mean, he's made quite a few films already. But it's always fun now to know that his wife and his daughters will be in it. And then it's just, it gives you things to look forward to, I guess, even though if you like the characters, and it's just fun. It's family fun.
That's the other thing that's one thing is like, I grew up on kind of silly, unserious comedies.
Yeah. Yeah.
starting with like Pink Panther movies, the originals.
I love Pink Panther movies.
Those original ones, I didn't like the Steve Martin ones, and I love Steve Martin, but no one. And now Eddie Murphy, they just announced the other day, Eddie Murphy is playing Inspector Clouseau.
No
in a new
way.
movie. They just got announced.
You know, I was going to bring up Eddie Murphy because I know that we had this conversation before. So a lot of young people that don't know the history of Eddie Murphy and his comedy stand-up. I mean, the guy was just fantastic. You have to go back.
Oh my
and
God!
pick up some of that
original,
stuff.
the ones the two that he's most notorious for is Delirious, which I think was an HBO special. Then he had a theatrical one called Raw.
Yeah. Yes.
That is jaw-dropping.
Yes.
How good it is.
Yeah. I mean, come on.
He's a talent. What I think is amazing is Jerry Seinfeld has been after him for years to do stand-up again.
Is that right?
Seinfeld is always about stand-up. He's like, that's you, a microphone, and an audience. I don't care how funny you are in a movie.
Yeah. Well,
You're going to get a reaction from the audience right away, and you got to know how to pivot, change, react on the fly.
Yeah, I mean, he can do it all. I just don't know whether he wants to put himself through that.
Eddie does. He wants to, but it's this thing of also think about where he was then. He was a normal kid in the Bronx, like raised in the Bronx in a project. He was a normal person that had funny observations about it. But like for the last 45 years, he's been a millionaire. What his life isn't as relatable, except he has like 7 or 8 children of various ages. It's like by this point, he's got something to relate to again.
No, he does. And I mean, he puts some of them in his films. And
yes, his daughter was in Coming to America too, and in one of the lead roles.
I mean, he's been busy raising a family. I think he still has Eddie Island. I think he still has his island.
Oh no, he's in his 60s, and he has a fairly young child with his current wife.
He does.
And he seems like a great father because he seems to.
Oh yeah, he does.
Even as a multimillionaire, it's like I think he's still maintained something of normalcy.
Yeah.
And he look at what happened to somebody like compare him to like Michael Jackson and how nutso their lives became. He still managed to stay sane and maintain something.
Well, I may be stepping away for a while too, kind of.
Yes.
That helps just sanity. But he looks great.
He looks great.
I can't believe, though, Inspector Clouseau, I mean, I would have never thought of a black man playing that role.
Exactly.
So, that's something Will Smith, when he played one of my favorite TV shows, the
cowboy one.
The Western.
Wild Wild West.
Wild Wild West. Tony West, or I forget the main actor's name.
Kevin Kline. Kevin Kline played his partner in that.
No, I mean in the original series.
Oh man, I don't remember who did that.
Anyway, I loved that show. And then one day, they made a movie, and there's Will Smith. I struggled with that. So I don't know how I'm going to feel.
The casting was the least of the problems of that movie.
Well, there was a lot. Yeah. That's true. That's true.
The casting had nothing to do with how bad the movie was.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because I really because the bad guy in it was Kenneth Branagh. And talk about a fearless role. He played a Southern American extreme racist, saying the most horrible things to him about slaves. And that, as an actor, it's like you're taking a chance of making an audience hate you and possibly going from hating the character to hating you.
That's true.
That took a little bit of bravery. Rarely do I think it's brave of an actor to do something, but that's beyond a career risk. That's a life-threatening risk. And he took it and did great with he didn't hold back.
Yeah. No.
He did not hold back. So, in Kenneth Branagh's, have you seen his mystery movies he's been doing as that Pierrot, the investigator? He did.
I don't know if I have or not.
He did The Haunting in Venice, Death on the Nile, and the train one, Murder on the Orient Express. He's done these 3 movies where he plays the French investigator. They're based on the novels.
Okay.
And the movies have been pretty good. And he's apparently making yet another one because there's 5 or 6 books, and he's doing another one. And he not only stars in them, he directs them.
Okay.
And he's an underrated director. He did the first Thor, but he's known for when he was 25, almost the same as Orson Welles. He was directing films of Shakespeare, like theatrical released movies based on Shakespeare, like Henry V,
I see.
Midsummer Night Dream, and stuff like that. Like he just did a string of these Hamlet. He did a Hamlet that had Billy Crystal, Robin Williams, Kate Winslet, himself, like stacked with huge British stars. And that's what he was doing. And then he had that dead period where he didn't do anything. And then he did Thor. And after he did Thor, he was able to kind of start doing his own stuff again. And he started doing more stuff. And again, he's somebody that was very arrogant when he was young. And he's like, God, do I regret these things? And he's kind of like U-turned himself as a person. And I think it's really awesome to see what he does now. But that pretty much covers it, I think, for this week. Did you have anything else you want to throw in there?
I forgot it.
I've been having to write notes. I'm writing notes now, so I don't forget it. I'm still forgetting stuff. But I think that pretty much covers us for this week. You know, we love movies. We make our own movies. We love watching movies, and this is my favorite thing to talk about. I love talking about movies, and this is just another joy. And it seems like that's what people like, what we talk about.
Yeah,
the most.
it definitely seems that people are digging the movie history or any of these sub. I don't know what our age group is. That's maybe watching, but it is fun to tie it all together from TV show to film to back to these. You can call them TV shows. I mean, I don't know if they call that for streaming now, but that's basically kind of what this is.
Yeah.
Again, it's like
it's just it's streaming is the distribution, but for contractual reasons, a lot of times they won't call it a TV show because it has with the unions it has a different pay rate or something. So they have these different names for things. Yeah. They won't call it a TV show, but you're watching on your TV. It's a TV show at that point.
I agree. It's but it's fun. It's fun to have all this stuff. And to see going out on the limb and making these weird characters and changing it from what Marvel or Disney had set up to, where they're expanding on these characters and making it funny or dark or both at the same time.
I also think that there's the art form has changed, which is one thing you don't see in theaters anymore. We've talked about this before. We don't see the adult dramas in the theater anymore.
Yeah.
Those are only showing up as a 5 or 6 or 7 episode streaming series or even a limited series event. Like there was that Apple Plus show with Kate Blanchett, and it was called Disclaimer with Kevin Kline.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was, again, talk about a performance. Yes. Was Kevin Kline playing a British guy, an elderly British man to perfection. And that guy's as American as apple pie. Mm-hmm. But or maybe he's Canadian, I'm not sure, but I think he's American. But again, it was this thing where it was a film director, Alfonso Cuarón. Alfonso Cuarón, the guy who did Children of Men, the third Harry Potter movie, he directed every episode of this series. He treated it like a film that was just in 6 episodes. Mm-hmm. And to me, that's significant in what we're talking about because it's like that's the shift. That is the notable shift that Oscar-winning filmmaker is now doing streaming series because he gets a longer form of storytelling.
I mean, I'd like that.
That's where things are headed.
Yeah.
That's where things are headed now because first off, movie theaters are hemorrhaging money. I'm glad that Superman and even Fantastic Four made so much money because it gives hopes that theaters aren't going to shut down because I don't want that experience to go away. I also don't want it to keep getting more expensive because then it becomes inhibitive. That's going to be slitting their own throats. If they keep raising prices on tickets, they're going to put themselves out of business.
No, there's no doubt. I mean, that's been a slow bleed for a while.
Well, that all starts. It was fine until the pandemic. They have never recovered from the pandemic.
Right. They're not going to make up that lost money as much as they try.
Well, the biggest thing, and this ties to what you had just said, which is we don't know the age of our audience. Well, the big thing is everybody under like 22, 23, they are not going to the movie theater.
Yeah. Well, again, back to the TikTok. They're satisfied with the reality of a nonstop scroll to stimulate their brain for 30 seconds, 15 seconds to the next. Over and over and over.
For hours. So they have the patience to watch for 2 hours.
Yes.
But they don't have the patience to watch one thing for 2 hours.
Right. Right.
And so this was an interesting compliment we just got last night from a friend of mine. My friend in Seattle loves the podcast, which makes me so giddy. He watches it with his son, who's 20 or 21. And he told me to go exactly what you're talking about. He said he was talking with his son. He's like, do you see this? This is how humans actually talk. And I had to think about it. Like, guess what? You know, he talks to people.
Yeah. Yeah. That's my son.
He doesn't talk on the phone. He doesn't talk in person.
No.
He sends texts. He doesn't even send emails anymore.
Or through Instagram.
Or Instagram DMs.
Yeah.
So here's the thing is, what we're doing right here for someone under 21, this is revolutionary because they're like, people can actually just talk with their mouths. And they actually do it in real time with minimal editing. Not no editing, just minimal editing. So that was a big compliment because he's actually using it as, look, this is, he goes, because he tried to tell me, he's like, do you see how they're talking about movies? That is what every phone call he and I have is like.
I see.
He actually views this as an extension of our phone calls because this is what we've talked about my entire life.
Wow.
Since I was 5 and saw Star Wars. Wow. I knew him then, and this is what we talked about then and what we talk about now. And how, I mean, none of this is scripted. We're just talking here.
Right, right. Well, alrighty. Do you want to give it a closer?
So, again, I just wanted to thank everybody for tuning in. This has been another podcast focused mostly on Comic-Con, and, you know, we're going to keep doing these things. I think we're going to skew a little harder into the movies. That's what people seem to want. We didn't know when we started this podcast what exactly it was going to be, but when we talk about what we love, and it's movies and TV shows and streaming, that's what people want, and I think we're more than happy to take care of everybody.
Well, we're still going to keep some technology. I still got to do military technology.
Of course. I don't want to give that stuff up either. I don't want to give up the tech stuff. Like, I want to talk, next time, we're going to talk again about some more about 3D printing.
Yeah, 3D printing.
And we have more obscure movies to talk about. Yeah. And, you know, there's some technological things I want to talk about, too.
Well, could you imagine a film, a feature-length film, all with humanoids? Think about that one.
I can picture it.
That's going to be good.
It's going to be good.
Oh, boy.
We can see where the future is heading. All right. We'll see you all next time. Destiny.
Welcome to the Sabo Ross Experiment. We have liftoff. Woohoo! Hey, welcome to the Sabo Ross Experiment. And today we are going to talk a lot more about movies and Comic-Con.
Indeed. I actually, have you ever been to Comic-Con before?
No, I haven't been there.
So it's the big thing is San Diego Comic-Con, but they pronounce it Comic-Con like it's one word. I was blessed